Ready, hot!
In the season that the way that we did, and we came out and played really well at the end of the year. And so, yeah, it feels good to be in the spot we're in and be at the bowl game that we're at.
But you personally, though, I mean, there had to be so much pressure at one time, and just wonder how you're feeling about the way you have ended it, even though you have one more game.
Yeah, for sure. Started off a little rocky. Didn't play the way I felt like I could play or play the way that I wanted to play. And then, fortunate enough for me and this being my final year, I finally got it going a little bit and started playing some good football and built some confidence throughout the year.
Landry, what do you think this bowl game against Texas A&M could mean to your legacy at OU?
It's just another big bowl game that we get to go to. Another good team, team ranked in front of us. So it's going to be a big challenge for us and for me and my legacy here, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's just another game that I get to go out and prove myself and hopefully play to the best of my abilities.
When you decided to come back last year, was your legacy here something that was on your mind? And now that you've almost completed your career, I think it's like your 118th game, it seems like. What do you think your legacy is going into your final start?
I didn't think too much about legacy or anything like that coming back. I just really wanted to make the right decision for me and for my family now. But now, like I've always said, I hope my legacy here is bigger off the field than maybe on the field. Guy that always pushed his teammates towards Christ and always made that very evident that he's the answer to their lives and he's the answer to our lives and the reason why we're here on the earth.
And on the field?
On the field? I hope I go out the way that I want to go out. I hope I go out the way with a win and play very well, and so we'll just see on January 4th how that ends up.
You have any interest in sitting on the sideline and watching Manziel run around and make plays? Or obviously you'd like to see your defense sack him, but he's an interesting fellow to watch, I guess.
Yeah, big challenge for our defense. Very explosive offense. Coach Sumlin has done so many good things around this place, and then Manziel has done, obviously, a lot of great things for the game of college football. Won the Heisman this year, All-American, done all those things, so it's going to be a big challenge for us and the defense.
You have your hands full as a quarterback, though, game planning and getting ready for the next series and that kind of thing. You won't have any eyes for him that day, I'm presuming.
If you get a chance to watch, it's usually, it's in between series, but for me, in the most part, it's more communicating to the offense, and then if you get a chance to watch the other team or watch the defense, it's just kind of a bonus to the game.
Does it place any chip on your shoulder? He's done some of the things that you wanted to do this year, win the Heisman, be in the national spotlight like he's been. You have a chance to kind of prove that maybe you're the better quarterback in this game. Is that a mindset you go into a Cotton Bowl with?
I don't think so. You play against so many good players throughout the year, and then you look at it, the teams that we have played. We played Notre Dame, who had a Heisman finalist. We played Kansas State, who had a Heisman finalist, and now we're getting to play Texas A&M, so the guy on their team won the Heisman. So I don't know if it's necessarily a chip on your shoulder. It's just more of a way where you want to go out and you want to compete the way that you can't compete. And then if he has a great game, he has a great game. I don't really have anything to do with his playing and what he'll do on January 4th.
In your final game, would you rather go up against a guy that won the Heisman than say not?
Yeah, it definitely makes it interesting, for sure, for my final game.
When did it dawn on you that you'd be playing your last game on the same field you played your first one?
Whitney had actually told me about that after, I think it was the day after the Cotton Bowl was announced that we were going to go play, and she said that, so that was kind of interesting to see how I've come kind of full circle here.
How much of that game do you remember?
I remember all of it. You remember? You definitely would remember your first start and the first time you got to play.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was really
I remember
nervous.
at the time, all the coaches said was how poised and assertive you were given the circumstance. Can you look back now and talk about sort of the other feelings that might have been?
I mean, I was confident to go in there and play the way I knew I could play, but still, there's still nerves that you go through for your first college football game and all those sort of things. So yeah, I was definitely nervous, but I played my hardest, and unfortunately we didn't come out on top, but learned a lot of things through that game.
How are your nerves different now than then? What will they be like before the A&M game?
Just more experienced. Know what teams are going to throw at you. Typically, you know what game plan you're going to be in. You know how to prepare yourself for games. So it's a different kind of nervous. It's more of an excitement nervous.
Were you prepared, looking back 4 years later, were you prepared to go in there on that field that day?
Yes and no. In my mind that day I was prepared, but looking back on it now, probably wasn't as prepared as I would be now, knowing what I know now.
What do you think in this last year, the improvements that you've made as a quarterback, why are you much more ready to go to the NFL now than you were a year ago, do you think?
I felt this year I moved better in the pocket more than I ever have in the past, and made more plays that way. So I think that's the one thing that I really had to improve on, and I felt like I've made good strides in that direction.
It seems like one of the things that people brought up as much as anything is that you, and it was a good option, I understand that you locked in on Ryan Broyles a lot. Do you feel like you seem like you've spread the ball around a lot more this year maybe than you have any other time in your career? Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do feel that way. But then again, you look at a player like Ryan, why wouldn't you throw him the ball? And if people want to knock that, then they want to knock that. But I feel like in our offense, and if you have a player like Ryan Broyles, why wouldn't you want to throw it to him 10, 11 times a game,
Talk about Austin Wood's story and what that's meant to the team this year.
Just a story about great perseverance. Austin never complained about it, and he never took himself too serious about it. There's always a lightness around him, even though he was going through a terrible situation, terrible circumstance, and just to see the way that he persevered through that, but also persevered it with a good attitude. He didn't come around the locker room with this bad attitude. He came around always upbeat, always ready to go to work, and I think that's just a testament to the type of person he is.
Landry, is it a little strange, a bowl game against Texas A&M, a team you know so well and been playing every year?
Yeah, it is a little strange. People say this is like a out-of-conference game, and I think for us I was like, well, I mean, we played them last year, and so yeah, we're familiar with both sides are familiar with each other, and so it is a little different playing them in a bowl game, just because you're used to them being in the Big 12 and always competing against them.
Is it a true Big 12 SEC matchup, or do you sort of still see them as a Big 12 team, as opposed to if you're playing Georgia or Florida or Alabama?
In my mind, it still seems like a Big 12 game, just because they're only 1 year removed. Now, if this was 20 years down the line, I'm sure it'd be a whole different game, a different feel to it, just because I'm sure that these future Oklahoma teams won't play Texas A&M every year, and so.
Back 20 years.
Jeez, maybe it feels
Hey,
like it.
talk about their defense, though. There's so much talk about their offense, and obviously they have a defensive end who's going to go really high. But can you talk about the Aggies on defense?
Very capable. Watching them on film, they do a lot of different things on defense. They do a lot of different things really well. Like any Texas A&M team, they're going to have athletes. They're going to recruit top kids in the nation each year, and so it's going to be a big challenge for us in the offense.
How do you look at the bowl game? I mean, a lot of people will say, oh, this isn't a BCS bowl. You guys, Northern Illinois came in, but yet now that everybody starts getting the hype about it, it may be one of the top 2 or 3 games that people want to watch.
Right. I mean, yes. Did we want to go to a BCS game? Absolutely. Who doesn't want to go to a BCS game? You know, but that's just not the way it turned out for us. But you look at all the other BCS games because of automatic qualifiers and all those sort of things. This might be one of the top 2 or 3 games in the country, you know, and so I know there's a lot of hype behind it, and I know that our team, and I'm sure Texas A&M, is extremely excited about this game, and it'll be a great game. It'll be good for college football.
What do you think the stadium will be like? Do you think it'll have that Texas OU feel, half and half?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know how long of a drive it is from Texas A&M, but I'm sure they'll have a ton of fans there, and I know for how we travel, we'll have a ton of fans there too.
How important has Gabe been, Landry, this year to you guys?
Gabe? He kind of held that offensive line together, you know. He's always the center, always making the right IDs, and I think he's been extremely important. Been a pivotal role in that offensive line as a leader of that group.
You won your last 3 bowl games, and you finished your final 2 years of high school with the state championship. When was the last time you didn't win the last game of the season for your team?
My sophomore year in high school, I think we went to semifinals, and we lost there, but that's the last time that. Or actually, no. Well, if you count me playing 2008, we didn't win the national championship, but I didn't play in that game.
Another offensive lineman, Lane Johnson, didn't come here to play that position. He's been here throughout your time here. What are just your thoughts on his time as a Sooner?
Probably one of the best all-around athletes on our team. You look at his size and his capabilities of what he's able to do athletically. Guys close to 305, 310, somewhere in that range, still running 4.740, you know, so extremely athletic. And he's made huge leaps on his technique and huge leaps in just playing that tackle position this year alone, and I think that he set himself up to make a lot of money in the future.
Do you see that rate of progression going forward beyond his college years? He still can be a lot better.
Absolutely. I mean, this is only his second year to ever play tackle, you know, and he's starting at a place where they predominantly have pretty good offensive linemen.
Landry, in your experience, how much of a difference does a bowl win make in terms of momentum going through that offseason forward?
It has a lot to do with the offseason, just as how positive it is, what kind of positive attitude the players and the coaches have going into it. So I think it's huge to always do your best to try to win that last game, regardless of what bowl game you're in.
Christmas is a week from today. What was the most memorable gift you ever received?
Oh my gosh. Most memorable gift. I think when I was a young kid, my parents had gotten me a bike, and I'd always want one, and so I think that was the most memorable gift that I've had.
Speaking of memorable, I think when you look back on your time here at OU, is there a play or a game that really stand out to you the most, or what do you think you'll remember the most from your time here?
I think the championships, you know, that I've been a part of, and all the bowl games and Texas OU games. I think those games like that will always be the things that I'll remember about this place.
Who's going to be the starting quarterback in 2013?
I have no idea. I don't know. You might want to ask Coach Stoops or Coach Heifel about that one.
You talk about the championship. You know, you played BYU down there, but you also played Nebraska in the Big 12 title game, 2010, one of your best games with the rally. What do you remember about that game, playing at Jerry World and winning the Big 12 title?
I remember it was extremely competitive game, and I remember a couple plays from that game, and I remember that Cam Kenny had a really good game against a really good corner. There's little things that you remember about those games, but just the feeling of playing in Cowboy Stadium. It's a great atmosphere, and then just winning the Big 12 there. It was a fun game, really competitive game against a really good defense.
Did you, John was asking me if you're going to watch Johnny Manziel. Is it easier to watch what's going on when you're on the sideline at that stadium, or you can just sort of lift your eyeballs and see the whole thing?
Yeah, I think that Jumbotron definitely attracts your eyes, but during the game, for me, I'm more communicating to my guys and talking through different scenarios of what the defense is doing.
What were you doing on the play when Sam was hurt? Were you on the sideline helping relay signals and stuff? Or what do you remember about that play when Sam got hurt?
I just remember that it was a blitz off the outside, and we didn't have enough guys to block it, and then Sam tried to roll out and kind of make a play there, and unfortunately he got sacked and then got hurt. But I remember I was on the sideline just kind of watching the game.
What went through your mind as soon as you saw he didn't get up?
Well, it dawned on me that, hey, I'm the backup quarterback, and now I'm in the game, and I'm going to have to play, So I was grabbing my helmet and getting myself ready, or getting myself prepared to go in there.
Landry, we're in the Adrian Peterson room in the Switzer Center. Think you've done enough to warrant yourself your own room here? The building, maybe some equipment?
Oh,
You got it behind that.
yeah, I think I don't know about that one yet, but maybe some years down the line.
You ever thought about the name Landry Football? Is that a master through?
We'll pass on that name.
All right, folks.